What's the worst thing a teacher has ever done to your child? My 7-year-old son Lucas came home from school with red marks around his wrists and a completely defeated expression. He was unusually quiet during dinner and kept rubbing his arms. "Buddy, what happened to your wrist today?" I asked gently. "Mr. Peterson put zip ties on me during math class because I couldn't sit still," he whispered, looking ashamed. "He said I was disrupting everyone's learning." "Did you tell him it hurt?" I told him they were too tight and cutting into my skin, but he said I deserved it for not following directions. He made me sit like that for the whole math lesson. Mr. Peterson never called me, never sent a note home, never mentioned restraining my son. Absolutely nothing. The moment I saw the marks on Lucas's wrists when we got home, I knew this was completely unacceptable. I immediately took photos of the red welts and drove to the school to speak with the principal. But when I arrived, the office was already closed for the day. I'd have to wait until morning to address this. When I called the school the next morning to speak with Principal Martinez, Mr. Peterson had the nerve to claim Lucas was being aggressive and the restraints were for everyone's safety. "He was throwing things and threatening other students," Peterson said over the phone. "I had no choice but to use approved restraint methods to protect the classroom." This was a complete lie about my gentle son. My wife works in child psychology and had recently given me a small audio recorder for emergencies after some concerning incidents at other local schools. I carefully placed it in Lucas's backpack that morning. The very next day, we captured exactly what we needed. During reading time, Mr. Peterson was talking to another teacher about classroom management techniques while students worked at their desks quietly. Lucas was nearby organizing his books when he heard Peterson say, "I know those zip ties were too tight on that Lucas kid yesterday, but honestly, these ADHD kids need to learn there are real consequences for disrupting my class." The other teacher sounded concerned. "But isn't physical restraint supposed to be a last resort? These parents coddle their kids too much." Peterson laughed coldly. "A little discomfort teaches them respect and self-control they're not getting at home." I printed Lucas's medical evaluation for ADHD, burned the audio to a CD, and marched into Principal Martinez's office the next morning ready for battle. "We need to discuss Mr. Peterson's use of restraints on my son." Martinez looked confused. "But Mr. Peterson told me Lucas was being violent and the restraints were necessary for safety." I placed my CD player on his desk and hit play without hesitation. His face went pale as Peterson's voice filled the room, admitting he knew the restraints were too tight but used them anyway as punishment. Martinez stopped the recording, looking genuinely horrified by what he'd heard. "This was recorded yesterday during class time. Mr. Peterson knowingly hurt my son and then lied to you about the circumstances." Martinez immediately picked up his phone and called Peterson to the office. When Peterson walked in and saw me sitting there with my documentation, his confident expression immediately crumbled. "We need to discuss your restraint procedures," Martinez said firmly, holding up the audio player. Peterson started to defend himself, but Martinez held up his hand and played the recording again. Peterson's own voice filled the room, confessing to using excessive restraints as punishment rather than safety. "Mr. Peterson," Martinez said quietly but firmly, "you're suspended pending investigation. This will be reported to the district immediately." Peterson tried to argue, but Martinez cut him off completely. "You deliberately used excessive force on a child, lied about the circumstances, and admitted to using restraints as punishment. This is a clear violation of district policy and potentially criminal assault."